Well, thank you, everybody. I'm very gratified and honored to be here with you tonight with an illustrious panel of participants and what I believe to be one of the most beautiful art forms in the world. We are celebrating Surimono, which has been my personal passion for over 45 years. And unquestionably, it should be considered the acme of the woodblock printing medium. Surimono embodied the nuanced relationship between word and image, requiring very careful orchestration between artist, poet, block carver, and printer. As such a collaborative genre, they may also be seen as a particularly pertinent topic for this challenging and fraught time that we are all in. The poetry groups that commissioned these deluxe prints consisted of individuals, very much mostly men, from various social milieu, professions, and even in many cases social outcasts in any other context, such as kabuki actors or entertainers. People from different strata were able to intermingle and be brought together to celebrate and create art and poetry. Indeed, they broke social barriers. So might I ask you all tonight who've joined us, as we hear about and look at these glorious small jewels of printmaking, to allow these rare and delicate gems to inspire us to do better, to be more accepting and supportive of others, regardless of their social status, wealth, background, and expand our horizons for this country and for our planet. So that being said, I want to tell you a little bit about this series. Tracy, could we go back to the slide before? That I put together where I dreamed this up over cocktails with Andrea Drosten, who was the director at Oberlin College, who we featured in our last presentation, to bring to light shuttered exhibitions of Japanese art in nested or teaching institutions. Institutions that have not only put wonderful shows together with scholarly content, but have done monumental research and publications that will withstand the test of time and be important reference tools in the decades to come. Also, all three exhibitions and collections are single owner collections and were gifts of a century ago, or a current gift that is in the making by incredibly generous and philanthropic individuals. Hopefully this autumn, the lights will be turned back on and we will actually get in our cars, if not on airplanes, and be able to go and see these relit exhibitions in the flesh. But shy of that, hopefully we will get a taste for that, and hopefully you'll go order these publications online, be well read and ready to see the shows when the doors reopen. Tonight with us, we have curators from over 13 major museums, totally across the country. Some of them are recognized scholars in their fields, some of whom are even published authors on the field of Surimono. And we have several people here who are prominent collectors, other collectors from coast to coast of the Surimono genre. We also have docents from museums here hoping to learn and to educate others. And that is the silver lining of such a Zoom talk, that we can have people literally in Moscow and in Malaysia at the same time, all together, waking up with an alarm clock, I think, to be here with us today. But we can share the love and passion and the vision of gifted and far-sighted collectors and celebrate Japanese art and the human endeavor tonight. I also, before introducing our speakers, would like to thank Catherine Martin of Scholten Gallery for the support of Asia Week New York in the series of panel discussions, and to thank Tracy and my team at the gallery who have spent countless hours in putting this program together for you. So we have the creme de la creme from Yale University here with us tonight. Stephanie Wiles is the Henry J. Kravitz II Director of the Yale University Art Gallery. She began her career in the Department of Drawings and Prints at the Morgan Library and Museum, where she was appointed to various curatorial roles over a 16-year tenure. With a scholarly focus on works of art on paper, she was later appointed director of the Allen Memorial Museum of Art at Oberlin College, and in fact was the one who hired Andrea to begin with. In 2011, she was named the Richard J. Schwartz Director of the Herbert F. Johnson Museum of Art at Cornell University, also a museum well endowed with two Surimono collections. Stephanie earned her BA in Modern Languages from Hobart and William and Smith Colleges and her PhD in Art History from the Graduate School at CUNY. Japanese woodblock prints, and especially the delightful poetry and technical complexity of Surimono prints, have held a fascination for her throughout her career. A graduate of Columbia, Denise Petrilide is the Ruth and Bruce Dayton curator and head of the Asian art department at Yale University Art Gallery. Prior to joining the staff at Yale, she served as the Brooke Russell Astor Curator of Chinese Sculpture and Decorative Arts Emerita at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, as well as working at both the Asia Society and the Museum of Fine Arts Boston. Dr. Leidy has, I have to say Denise, has curated numerous exhibitions and gallery rotations and is a prolific author with many museum publications and scholarly articles on a broad range of Asian art topics spanning the history and cultures of South and East Asia. And she is a co-student of mine from our days at Columbia in Asian art history back in the Wild West of the 70s. So again, we go back a long time. Sadako Oki is the Japan Foundation Curator of Japanese Art at Yale University Art Gallery. She has curated memorable exhibitions and written for their accompanying publications, including The Elegant Tea Culture of Japan of 2009 and Byobu, The Grandeur of Japanese Screens in 2014. She has written extensively in numerous scholarly publications about her lifelong passion of Japanese calligraphy. The Private World of Surimono Japanese Prints from the Drosten Kenadjian collection has been a project on which Sadako has worked on intermediately over a decade. Published by Yale University Press just 3 months ago, this exquisite and informative book illuminates the intertwined relationships between Japanese art, language, and literature in the first half of the 19th century through the combination of imagery and poetry. Last but far not least among our academicians here is Adam Halliburton, who is the PhD candidate in the Department of East Asian Languages and Literature at Yale University. He also received his BA from Yale in 2010 and is the co-author of this impressive new volume and subject of tonight's discussion. I will say, quite frankly, his talents at untangling the hidden meanings and references of these cryptic prints and how he reveals them in his own artful poetry in English makes this book a joy to read. And dare I say, working with Adam briefly and reading what he's written, I see another John Carpenter in the making, and hopefully we can get him off of this language stuff and move him into the world of art history so he can follow in John's footsteps completely. And lastly, I have no written introduction because I was told not to. I must introduce the marvelous collectors, Shawn and Patrick Kenadjian, friends of multi-decade standing, and I will talk a little bit about my personal relationship with them and them as the ideal collectors that every dealer dreams about in a short while. So those are, there they are. Shawn and Patrick, we first met, my husband Bob and I, in the late 70s when they were all very junior lawyers at their joint firm, Davis Polk and Wardwell in Paris. And we have enjoyed many trips to some of the most beautiful parts of the world, including time spent together in Japan. And their love and passion for art, not just Japanese art, has no equal. I know of no couple who's seen more exhibitions in more museums in more countries on a regular basis than Shawn and Patrick. Their knowledge of art, global art, is profound. And as such, they are, as I said, my dream clients and very dear friends. So I would like to start our questions. And my first question is for Denise. No, actually for Stephanie. I would like to open the floor to Stephanie to give her introduction as the director of the Yale University Art Gallery, and give us a little bit of tour for those of us who've never been there, who should get there, and maybe we'll get there in the future when the campus reopens. Stephanie?
Thank you. Thank you, Joan. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much, Joan, for bringing us these really fun and stimulating talks. It was great to see my former Oberlin colleagues at the last event. And of course, I want to give my profound thanks to Shawn and Patrick, who really immersed us all into the world of Surimono in such important ways over the past years. So thank you, Shawn and Patrick. What I'll do today, before I turn it over to my colleagues, is just briefly orient you to the art gallery and the Asian collection by way of the buildings. And I hope that we will be open and able to host many of you as soon as possible, but we're not quite there yet. So the gallery is the first college art museum in the United States. It was founded in 1832 by artist John Trumbull. The original building is no longer standing, but what you see on the screen here today are 3 buildings along Chapel Street in New Haven. And these were woven together in a transformative renovation that was undertaken by my predecessor, Jock Reynolds. Jock was director of the art gallery for 20 years, and he and many of my colleagues at the gallery completed this project in 2012. I think it's informative to look at these buildings separately. What you see on the screen at the lower right is a neo-Gothic type style building that's designed by Peter Bonnet White. This is known as Street Hall, and many of you, there are a few Yale alumni on our call today. Many have had studio classes here, art history classes, and then also visited collections in this building over the years. Today, the Street Hall houses the American collection. The middle building that you see on the screen that looks kind of like the Bargello in Florence is the old Yale Art Gallery. And in 1926, you can see if you glance down again at the white building, in 1926, this was attached to Street Hall with a bridge, which is a very important part of our, shows our Impressionist paintings today. And then if you go to the upper left, you see the Louis Kahn building from 1953. This is a fantastic modernist building that underwent a renovation. It opened with a poetic mixture of, that you can even see, I think, from the slide, masonry, concrete, glass, and steel. And the Asian collection is housed on the 2nd floor of the Louis Kahn building. So if you could, next slide, please. Thank you. And before I turn it over to my colleague, Denise Leidy, I just wanted to point out how when she came to the gallery, leaving the Met in about 2017, she really masterminded an extraordinary reinstallation of the Asian collections. And one of my favorite parts of this, of Denise's installation, is how she used the light and the views of the Kahn building so creatively within her installation. When the works of art could withstand the light, Denise brought them to life really through the installation that she made. And one more slide I think I have. Yeah, and so Denise not only reimagined how the Asian objects would look in these galleries, but also more importantly, she expanded the reinstallation to many, many more objects. And so what that has brought us over the years is renewed interest by faculty and students who use the Asian collection deeply for teaching and for their research. And she's introduced hundreds of thousands of public visitors each year to the breadth of the Asian holdings, which really couldn't happen at the same scale before this reinstallation. So I'm thrilled to work with Denise and want to turn it over to her now. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I think you've enticed us all to get over to Yale. And Denise, can you tell us a little bit about the Asian collection specifically at the Yale University Art Gallery, its relative strengths, some of its masterpieces, and how important Asian art is to the Yale community?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm very happy to do that. Thank you, Stephanie, for your extraordinarily kind words. This is a view of the galleries as we reopened in 2017. And as Stephanie said, I learned to live with the light that comes from the glass in the Kahn building. Like most of us who've worked in museums for a long time, you do have this instinct to have everything in front of a plain wall. So it took a lot of thinking. The Asian collection is writ large at Yale. I think because we are so old, Asian was defined as broadly as possible. Under the rubric of Asian collection, we have the West Asian or Islamic collections, the Central Asian collections, the South Asian or Indian collections, the mainland Southeast Asia collections, the Himalayan collections, China, Korea, and Japan. We have important holdings from all of these cultures, and like all museum collections, things where I think we should grow. I would say that Chinese ceramics from the 10th to the 12th century and related pieces from the Islamic world are among our strengths, as well as some very, very important paintings from throughout all of Asia. And now, of course, we have a great Surimono collection to play with. May I have the next slide, please? We took the opportunity, basically, the galleries are divided by not so light sensitive and very, very light sensitive, and we change the paintings and the textiles in the light sensitive areas every 6 months. Next slide, please. And I use this as an opportunity, or we use this as an opportunity to explore different topics, and also sometimes to tweak rotations to accommodate a major symposium in something like Islamic art or a course that's going on. So I'm going to leave you with this slide for now, but this is basically what the East Asian painting section looked like when we reopened. In the front, we have the beginning of a 3-part calligraphy series curated by a Yale alumni and using his collection. A 3-part series exploring the development of Chinese calligraphy. And as you move into Japan, and a wonderful screen by Mayo Motoko, we're looking at the role of line in Japanese culture as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. I might also point out the Sujimura vase in the background. Yale has made a commitment to contemporary ceramics that goes back quite a ways. I'm really pioneering in that respect. So it's wonderful to see even a piece juxtaposed against something else within the context of traditional Asian art. So my hat's off to you.